SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be going over another forgotten gem, one that has not received the kindest of criticisms, but does have a large cult following, and is still aired here and there to this day, and is one of the first Disney XD's animated series that made originally. This, of course, I'm talking about is Buttowski, Suburban Daredevil. Now, this is a very interesting one, mainly because I remember it growing up, and I did like it. It was fun, and it was shocking to me to see how many people had actually criticized it, but how big the cult following for was it, and how many people actually did love and cherish it. So, with that being said, let's get into it, shall we? But before that, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. It really helped me out. Let me know what kind of content you guys like. If you have any cartoons or series or movies that you would like me to check out, please leave them down in the comment section. I'd love to see. And with that being said, let's get started, shall we? Buttowski originally aired on February 13th, 2010, with the main episode being Dead Man's Drop, and ended September 22nd, 2012, almost an entire 2-year run. Buttowski was originally created by Sandro Corsaro, and was meant to be Disney XD's first animated project come to fruition. Airing right next to another series, live action series of course, called Aaron Stone. Mr. Corsaro has said in the past that the original version of Buttowski was originally called Kid Knievel, based off of his childhood hero Evel Knievel and his love of daredevils. With a design that seemed more like Evel Knievel, it was ultimately rejected and forced to be changed around, be more of a reference to it rather than fully be about Evel Knievel. But despite all this, they still got Robbie Knievel, the son of Evel Knievel himself, to be the stunt coordinator along with an advisor throughout the series. Along with those small facts, the hometown of Buttowski also mirrored the hometown of Corsaro himself, that being Stoneham, Massachusetts, with a lot of characters he remembered from his childhood mirroring itself in the main cartoon as well, with Corsaro even mentioning that he wanted the series to represent his own childhood, things he remembered and things he loved, combining his love of the original stuntman himself, Evel Knievel, with his hometown seemed like a no-brainer, and adding these new characters and new flavor to its own storyline. So with all that being said, let's move on to animation. So with all that being said, let's move on to our main protagonist, shall we? Now, our main protagonist is Clarence Francis Buttowski, or Kick for short. Voiced by Charlie Scatler, is a 10-year-old amateur daredevil. He wants to grow up to be one of the greatest stuntmen in all history, but he has to survive elementary and high school to achieve that goal. He goes off every day to achieve a new stunt or a new feat that he deems as completely awesome. Him, along with his pal Gunter, who acts more of a sidekick and voiced by Matt Jones, go out to achieve what they think will be the ultimate stunts in every other episode. But that does not mean they are without flaws. Kick can be seen as being childish, which makes sense for his character, but is quickly to fix that and become a better person in the process. And the story does have some continuity to it, allowing the characters to grow and experience life growing up in this suburban area, while at the same time trying to be his own person, trying to be the stuntman he feels he is meant to be. So with a head full of dreams, a skateboard in one hand and an energy drink in the other, Buttowski is ready to take on the day and become the greatest he's ever known in history. What that is exactly is a daredevil, and he really is not sure how he's going to get there, but he knows he's going to get there, crashing and screaming one way or another. Buttowski was made by Disney Television Animation, but the animation itself for the 2D aspect was made by Toon Boom Animation. They do a lot of Canadian animation themselves, and they were used as more of a 2D assets, with the inspiration from the creator himself being more of a Flash games kind of style, with a more flat, simplistic kind of look to it. But when we get down to the stunts and certain actions throughout the series, it does try to take on a 3D animation kind of look. And from that, we got Mercury Filmworks coming in for that aspect of it, giving it a mix of 2D and 3D, while at the same time trying to remain 2D and keep the idea of the retro or original stylings of the Flash animation that came with certain other series like Mucha Lucha or El Tigre and certain series like that. Now the sounding, along with the main title sequence, and of course the certain scores and tracks, can be brought down to Andy Stummer and James Childs. They had both worked on the main theme song composition, but Andy Summer did work on the main ending theme, composition, and opening theme as well. They did bring to life a lot of the main action, and I do know that a lot of people, once they hear that title sequence, they start going back to the show, and it is a very good intro song and gets to the main points of what they're trying to display in the main sequence. It does give a lot of what to expect of the show and what the characters are and mainly about. So the sound and all this does kind of equate to giving it its own flair, its own taste, and its own style compared to what we see in other Disney animated projects. Now, while I couldn't find any specific references to other series or other projects, I will revert to what I said earlier, that being that this was mainly a reference to Evel Knievel. Even so, that was almost called Kid Knievel. So with all that being said, the references we do got is Kick's outfit himself. We do see him wearing just a plain white and red jumpsuit, but if we go back to what the original creator had intended, it would have been blue and red with stars on the helmet. Now, he just inverted it with white, but you could definitely say that this was supposed to be based on Evel Knievel's original kind of stunt suit itself, where it was red, white, and blue, and had the more of an American theme to it. A subtle nod, but still effective, and it does remind you of Evel Knievel himself. And for an added take, we're going to see Cheetah Chug, which is the main energy drink that Kick Buttowski drinks, can be said to be a parody of Monster Energy drink, but rather it being a parody seems to be a reflection of it, mainly because of the main title sequence of the energy drink in the commercials portrayed in the original show. It does seem to point towards that direction. Just a funny nods and interesting takes on different styles of interpreting Evel Knievel and at the same time Monster Energy drink. With even Robbie, Kick's older brother, being named Robbie, named after Robbie Knievel himself, as again a minor nod to Evel Knievel. So all these are just chock full of kind of small hidden references that add to the main story. So when I go back to the series and look at it as a whole, I have to give it an 8 out of 10 at the most. Mainly because it does give what it promises. Just a young kid trying to be a daredevil or a stuntman, and he does it very well. And while some storylines don't really mesh and it can drag on a little bit, its overall is very fun, very entertaining, and very lighthearted. With the animation being what it was for the time, it is very well done. And I have seen a lot of negative criticisms against it. Many giving it a 1 out of 10 or 1 point something out of 5. Really looking down on it mainly because of how childish it tries to be. But I would argue with that's kind of the point. We are looking through the world of Kick Buttowski through Kick Buttowski. We are seeing it through his eyes, and in his eyes, he's not doing anything wrong. He's not trying to be anything great, but at the same time, he's not trying to be kind either. And in some episodes, he doesn't even win. In some episodes, there are some that he suffers the consequences. So it's not like he's constantly just going or skating by without having any repercussions. But like I said, if we do see it that way, it could be that we're just seeing it through his eyes itself. But with all that being said, thanks again for watching. I do in fact like this series and think that it does deserve another look at, and I would encourage anybody to go watch it on Disney Plus or Hulu. I have seen it on Hulu as well. So if you like this content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you want another forgotten gem that I may not think about here or there, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great one, and can we see you next time. See ya. Have a great day.